Our guest in this segment from Main Street Martinsburg is Robby Blair. Good morning, Mr. Blair. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Happy to be here. And thank you for the energy. I can feel
Can
it
you
in the
feel
room.
it?
It was palpable when I walked in,
Yeah.
Need that sometimes.
He just turned 85 about a month ago or so, and he is just loaded with stuff today.
Well, hopefully
Yeah.
get
What's
some good
next?
hard-hitting questions here.
Robbie, I have them for you, but the really hard-hitting questions come from my colleague to my left.
Okay.
But
I
actually,
spent
to
them
my
on the
right.
last segment.
Is it your position, Senator? Yes or no? Robert, what is the goal and mission of Main Street Martinsburg, and how do you differ from other organizations that promote the city?
Well, the goal of Main Street Martinsburg is to encourage reinvestment and a revitalization of our historic commercial corridor, which is Queen Street, King Street, Queen and King, everything in between. We're different because we follow a national approach. So a lot of people don't know this. Actually, I just started a blog on our website called the Downtown Digest, and we're going to start walking through some of those principles of Main Street America. But I could be here all day talking about Main Street America. Main Street America started in the 70s. Mary Means created a very interesting four-pillar approach to revitalization with the help of the National Trust for Historic Preservation. And so
What are those 4 pillars?
So we have 4 committees that all focus on the 4 pillars of design. So the aesthetic of town. We believe that people want to be places that feel and look like people care about them.
Sure.
It's very innate, actually. When you go somewhere and there's glass or there's shuttered up windows, your body tells you you're not safe, and that's fight or flight, right? Mm-hmm. So the design of a town being welcoming and pleasant really goes a long way. And even things like, we can say we have a high walkability score just because we have a sidewalk, but is it pleasant to walk around, So that takes a collaboration between volunteers, business owners, and the city government. So the other pillars are design, organization, meaning, ensuring that everything does funnel back into that mission, and every event, every program, anything you do has to come back to why you exist. There's no virtue signaling. There's no, we're doing something just because we've always done it that way. The organization committee is like the nuts and bolts. Our economic vitality committee, which is constantly surveying our inventory of vacancy downtown. We're actually getting ready to do another survey because the last one we did was in 2021. Obviously, town is always evolving, and with the interwoven mills, it's changing ever more rapidly. So that is to help with business retention and recruitment of new businesses. And then the other pillar is promotion, which means anything from an event that entices somebody to come downtown to our marketing strategy, our website. What are we putting out there to people? And all of those pillars are chaired by board members. And then we encourage other people in the community to get involved with something that you care about. So if you're a marketing person and you love town, join our promotions committee. If you've got an eye for, beautiful things, our design committee would love to have you. We do cleanup days. We do all sorts of stuff around the holidays, working on new banners for town. So, that is the long-winded way of saying how we're different from other organizations in Martinsburg, because we do follow that national approach that's tried and true that Mary Means founded in the 70s.
Well, actually, I'm glad you went into that, because as many times as we've had you on and Randy Lewis before you, I don't remember discussing those 4 parts of what your mission is.
Well, and it's interesting because most of the things that I come on here for, they kind of touch all 4 of those pillars. Our events are fundraisers, so it helps our organization capacity. It also is a promotion initiative. Usually there's a design element to our events that makes town look a little bit nicer for the weekend. And of course it brings in a lot of dollars through B&O tax, and the businesses see a big boost when we bring thousands of people downtown. So it touches that economic vitality point as well. And, there's a ever-growing facet of Main Street America, and certainly we're very involved in it, in the government affairs portion of things, because, a lot of what we do, we don't get direct dollars from the federal government, but man, the climate of things, it trickles down, and we all feel different things in different ways through, I guess the buzzword is bureaucracy, but all of that stuff right now. So we go down to D.C. every year. We're probably going to have to go back a second time this year. We usually only go once in February, but yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes with Main Street that we never get to come on here and talk about.
How many paid people are on your staff, and then how many people volunteer for Main Street, roughly? I know that's a tough number to kind of get on.
Yeah, hundreds of volunteers. Hundreds of volunteers. There are 2 full-time salary folks at Main Street, myself and Raven Lamp. And through the support of the CVB for last year and now moving forward the city of Martinsburg, we have 2 contracted employees, well, they're not employees, 2 contractors, I should say, who get some part-time hours to help us activate our downtown through small-scale gatherings and different things. It's our ambassador program. So they are hosting small-scale events like a free exercise class at the Adam Stephen House every Wednesday. We have a dog walk group every Tuesday evening that utilizes the trail, and then they all go out to a patio afterwards and hang out, called Paws and Pours. It's pretty good. It's got a really good following.
Bring some Frosty Paws.
Yeah, that's right. And then we just did last Saturday was our second Saturday that they've been organizing, so trying to get shops to open up a little bit later. Obviously, the restaurants stay open late on the weekends, but when you come downtown, you want to be able to shop. You want to be able to pop into stores. So, again, great relationship with City Hall. They were so kind to add a little bit of springtime jazz to the speakers that are downtown for the later hours. Again, just creating that environment that people want to be at.
And you have Wine Fest coming up. I want to make sure we get that.
Yes,
in here
we do.
too.
We do. Wine Fest is so fun because it's our only ticketed event, which makes it a different dynamic. And it's out at Boydville, so we're able to celebrate some one of honestly Martinsburg's most cherished historic landmarks out there. And it's very unique. Not very many places with that much acreage in a urban setting like that. Of course, Petty Pest came back as our sponsors again this year. We're so glad for them. But this year, I will say, there's a noticed increase in pre-sale tickets. And I think that is because our committee made a serious commitment to investing in the entertainment this year. So our Wine and Shine, your ticket gets you entry to the event, of course. You get samples of not just wine, but there are some local distilleries. So Black Draft will be there. Devil's Due will be there. Of course, lots of West Virginia wineries will be there. I think we have about 11 total vintners and distilleries. So your ticket gets you access to those samples, for the day. But this year for our band, we have the Reagan Years headlining.
They're huge.
We have Cashmere and Hot Fun playing. So, I mean, all day it's going to be a party.
And this is going to be when?
This is May 31st, so the last Saturday of the month. And I'm hoping the committee, every year we kind of bump it back a little bit further, because the closer you get to June, the less likely it is it's going to rain out. And last year, we get a bulk of our ticket sales the week of, because people are waiting to see what that weather looks like, right? Sure. This year, man, I always tell people, space is limited, right? So you got to get that ticket ahead of time. But this year, we've almost tripled our pre-sales. Like, our pre-sales are doing really, really good. And it's because people want to hear those bands. But also, last year there was a forecast for rain, and it did sprinkle in the morning. However, so we had a dip in sales last year. However, it ended up being one of the most smooth run wine fests I've ever had. The people that did come out had a blast because it was awesome, So I would just encourage people, that whenever it says rain on that day, it might just be for the morning. And that's what it was. It was a little damp, but it was still a fun time. So, anywho.
Billy.
Yeah, Robby, your passion, enthusiasm is contagious. It's
thank
always
you.
fun to have you on here. A couple of questions. You mentioned the board. Is it a requirement to live in Martinsburg to be a member of the board?
No, it is not. We have all sorts of different folks on the board. We try to keep it as diverse as possible in terms of how you are connected to downtown. So, like, for example, there is a longstanding board member who does not live in town, but she owns a business on Queen Street. So she has a vested interest in that regard. Other folks, yes, we do have residents. We do have folks in the banking community, or some people that have been valued partners throughout the year or throughout history. So we try to keep it. The one requirement is you got to be involved beforehand.
Yeah.
We don't pick people that we hope will care about town, right?
Sure.
Board members are required to be people that really care.
You mentioned also the businesses recruitment and retaining.
Yes.
And this is a challenge of all cities, and I realize fully that you would like to do both. You want to recruit and you want to retain. But is the emphasis on one more than the other?
I think it ebbs and flows because you can only recruit when you have so much vacancy to fill, right? And if you look down Queen Street, we don't have as much vacancy as we did, when I first started, or when we were coming out of COVID, which is when I started, right? So, I would say that it's a constant ebb and flow in that regard. Like, it's not a Main Street's Martinsburg specific formula as much as it is a May the 12th of 2025 formula. We always got to be on our toes and evolving for what's happening in Martinsburg right now.
John?
And for those who don't know, like I didn't know until I looked it up, Boydville is a mansion on Queen Street.
Yes. Oh, you've never been to Boydville?
No, 601
Oh, my
South
word.
Queen Street.
It is one of the most miraculous things because you drive by it. How many times have you driven by it?
Oh, apparently a lot. But I'm usually looking ahead. So,
Right.
yeah.
And John and Megan have done such great work to the facilities and to the land. I'm sure as we're speaking right now, he's out there trimming trees to make sure there's good clearance and whatnot. But you just got all this acreage of these beautiful mature trees to block the sun for the day. Of course, it's a Civil War significant property. And then, the mansion being just there in the backdrop it's just great. It's wonderful.
So let's talk about the wines, the
Yes.
important part.
Yes, the wines. So in terms of vintners, we only have West Virginia wineries there. We don't have any regional ones. So Stone Road will be there. They're always here. We have Forks of the Cheat Winery. We have and then the rest from my list right here are some of the distilleries.
Okay.
So we have Smooth Ambler, who they came up from Southern West Virginia last year, and they sold. I think they literally sold every bottle of bourbon they had.
Bourbon's very popular now.
It is. Bootleg Distilling, which is right there in Falling Waters. Black Draft, we don't have no introduction needed for Black Draft. Norse Hall, which Norse Hall is really interesting. They're a local group that makes mead. So I guess they're technically wine, the honey wine, but they make a really, really tasty mead that is carbonated and sweetened with fruit. It's very unique, and it's very delicious. And then Devil's Due and Mountain State Spirits will be here. I also have to add, Main Street always, again, in an effort to raise funds, we have our own tent where we do have some of those regional wines, like from Big Cork or Bro in Northern Virginia. So we'll have our tent as well with almost 15 different wines to sample.
food?
By. There is. We have 9 food trucks. So some of your favorites, of course, Ford's Fish Shack, Toasted, Coffee Mania, More Than Just Tacos, Effin' Flatbreads, Taste of Philippines, Classy Caboose, Fed Up, Cool Kids Concessions. So a little bit of everything. We try to have some pizza. We try to have some tacos, like just one genre per,
Dog and kid friendly.
So it is kid friendly. We do try to we do ask folks not to bring their animals if they can oblige. I got some bark one time because we made a post and somebody let me know that it is against the ADA requirements to ask somebody to show that it is a service dog. So I'm not doing that. Of course, if you have a service animal, you need to have, that's fine. But it is a private residence, right? People live there. So we're trying to respect their rules of the property. And, you know, I say this for our street festivals too. I have a dog. She loves everybody. But I don't feel like I'm setting her up to be well behaved by bringing her to a loud environment with thousands of people and, you know, the circumstances.
And not everybody loves even the cutest dog. So
That's right. That's right.
Though they should.
No, they should. It says a lot about a person who doesn't, but, you know.
I have to agree with that.
Robby Blair is our guest, Executive Director of Main Street Martinsburg. You've been in the job how many years now, Rob?
I started in September of 2021, which is just unbelievable to
almost
think.
4 years now.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. So
Yes.
I ask you this almost every time. The goal when Mayor Knowles said it was one big event per month, which is a difficult one to
It
attain in a city the size of Martinsburg.
It
So
is.
you're up to how many events per month now?
Well, per month, we've far exceeded that. Not big events, but we have weekly events now. We, with the ambassador program through the city and our partnership, we have weekly events that, like I said, they're accessible, they're free. Obviously, the summer concert series is right around the corner, which is every Friday.
Fridays at 5 still?
At 6. We pushed it back to 6 for those blue collar folks of Berkeley County to get there. You know, they work till 5 p.m. They can't make it down here. So, I mean, that relatable. I'm like, you know, I get off work. I don't want to just clock out and go somewhere right afterwards. I want to shower. I want to go grab a beer or something beforehand downtown. So we did push it back to 6. And then, of course, we also partner with Tony M. in the library in the summer times. On Thursdays at 10 a.m., there's a free kids concert and book reading that we partner with them on. So
what's the story with the library this summer, though?
Oh, boy. Actually, I have a meeting with those folks tomorrow, so I'll bring me back in next week, and I'll have another answer for you. I know it's a lot whenever you're dealing with things like asbestos.
Sure.
Yeah, well, Robby, I've always been confused, the relationship between Main Street Martinsburg and the city itself. I know you work very closely together.
Very closely.
What are the boundary conditions?
Well, you know, we've always talked about signing an MOU, so that's clean and out there. We just never have gotten around to it. I always like to think of Main Street and the city as having a symbiotic relationship, right? So let me give you one example where I think it best encapsulates how we work together. Christmas time, all the beautiful things go up on the streets, and it looks, town, you know, transforms, right? Well, every single decoration at one point or another, Main Street Martinsburg, the nonprofit, paid for. We either fundraised or we brought out of our budget to pay for those decorations. Our volunteers get together to put the light bulbs in every year, to update the light bulbs.
Are you on the light posts, all of those?
Not the street lamps, but the snowflakes and all that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so we have we call it our light bulb screw-in party. We do it every year. It's volunteers, and then in return, the city employees are the ones who go and they put them up on the light poles and whatnot. So we're rowing in the same direction.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That's something we all assume.
Right.
But I'm curious about the other side of the equation, where you have a divergence of opinion or divergence of direction to go. How do you resolve that?
You know, there, and that I think is why Main Street America does not encourage the Main Street coordinator to be a city employee, right? Because there are times, right, where you differ and you have to hold people's feet to the fire. Thankfully, I feel that in the city of Martinsburg, there aren't too many of those situations. I think Mayor Knowles, Andy Blake, and even before him with Mark Baldwin, they all understand the concept of Main Street, and they understand good local governance. So yes, there is an aspect where I have a pretty good relationship with the folks at City Hall, but on City Council, that I can reach out and say, hey, what are we doing here, right? Like, what is that? Because that does not match what we want to be rowing in the direction of. But they provide us with supplemental funding. The officers, the Public Works Department, they're there anytime we need them. But of course, we have a board and we're our own 501c3. We aren't.
Hang on there, Robert.
City
We'll be
employees.
back with the final minute with Robby Blair from Main Street Martinsburg right after we do this final 2-minute timeout.